Okay, I've got the recording started. Okay, team. Um, Before we get started, real quick, I want to let everyone know that Plexus sent us an email this morning, and so they're offering another great incentive for us this month, and it's half off the enrollment for the rest of the month, which is awesome. Uh, you know, uh, Tara and her husband Miles are on here with us tonight. And so you guys, this is the first time that Plexus has ever done anything like this with these promos and stuff. So we're really excited about this and everything. But anyway, I want you guys to welcome Tara and Miles. How do you say your last name?
Saxic.
Saxic. Okay. Yeah, we're happy to have them on our Zoom call here tonight. They both have amazing testimonies. So if you've got any questions, I'm not going to open it up to questions. Is what I want you guys to do is answer or ask in the chat box over here, and then I'll try to ask them at the end of the Zoom and everything. But anyway, before we get started with finding about how Plexus is done for you guys, can you just tell us where you're from and a little bit about your family?
Okay. We're from Central Pennsylvania, just a little bit north of Harrisburg. And
right outside of Hershey, PA, not far from Hershey.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I go to Hershey a lot for work.
Yeah.
And you can drive through there and smell all sorts of chocolate brewing in the air. It's nice.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And we are family of 5 and a little dog, and we have 8 chickens.
Oh, wow.
Newly acquired chickens.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, we decided we needed to be chicken farmers and have laying hens. So we're going to see how that goes for the first time this year.
Wow, well, cool. That'll be awesome. We'll be looking forward to all that. You guys posting that on Facebook. We'll follow you guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so now, now I know you guys both have an amazing testimony and stuff. So if you could you please just kind of tell us how you first heard about Plexus and how you got started and everything.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go first. I started on Plexus because of her. So she'll tell you her side of it, but she's basically telling me, hey, let's give this a shot and try these products. So I'm on board, and I decided that I was going to, go through this journey with her and give these products a try. I didn't have any necessarily any goals behind them other than at the time just supporting her and seeing what these could do for me. And before you know it, I start seeing some results that I never really anticipated. So pretty quickly, it only took me about 3.5 to 4 months, and I had dropped a bunch of weight. I lost a total of 31 pounds. You never really realize how much inflammation you have and how chubby you truly are until you start to see those results in those side-by-side pictures. Yep. So I've been sharing those a lot lately because, you just go back a year ago, 2 years ago, and what a vast difference of kind of aging backwards and losing that weight and losing all that inflammation and just looking healthier. So I really started to see a benefit from that. I noticed that I wasn't snoring any longer, which was a great benefit to her. I didn't have I used to really, I think my blood sugars were a little out of whack, although I never had those tested, but you could tell that I was constantly craving sugar, craving snacks. I was getting hangry, in between meals. If I needed to eat, you knew it, right? So that started to go away. I was no longer hangry anymore. I no longer had those cravings. I wasn't eating a bowl of cereal at 10 o'clock at night to try to satisfy that craving.
And the bowl was never big enough.
No, cereal bowls were like,
right.
I wouldn't fit half the box.
You can't grow side, yeah.
Exactly. So all of that, I just started to see all this change in like how I felt, how my diet was, how easy it was for me to give up like sugars and things. But I'd say the biggest triumph overall is I was on, for 8 years, I was on narcotics. So I was on pain medicine prescribed for degenerative disc disease. Now I have a few discs in my neck that are messed up, and started to develop some arthritis in my lower back. And I had everything from acupuncture to injections, epidurals, physical therapy, chiropractic visits, whatever I could. But really, it was just long-term um, prescription pain medicine. And that was all that we were going to do at this point, because right now I'm 36 years old. This has been going on for, a better part of a decade. So always too young to look at surgery. My dad had 3 back surgeries, so I knew that if I had one, I was going to keep having more and more. And I just thought that was kind of my life, this just going through life with this chronic pain and satisfying that pain through narcotics. I started to notice that I was able to start weaning myself off of those narcotics over the course of probably 7 months, gradually, to the point where, I started taking the product in March, right? March.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my last pain pill September 10th. So
Wow.
I haven't, since September, I haven't had any pain medication prescribed. I haven't taken anything over the counter. My pain level is minimal. And if it does arise, I just, ease does the trick. So ease was a big component in that, along with the Triplex and the X Factor. I did a heavy, like a loading dose of ease where I was doing 2-3 times a day for months. And
Right.
that really helped me get off of the pain medicine. And now I just kind of take ease as needed, as I would like Advil or Aleve or something. If I'm having some pain, I just take a couple of ease.
Wow.
Between all of that, I'm starting to do things that I never thought I could do, right? So I'm working out a lot. We just got done with a workout right before this, and that's something that we never really did before, especially as a couple, is take time to exercise.
Right.
I signed up for a Spartan race, which I never really thought I'd be able to do. So I'm 2 months out right now from my first ever Spartan race, and I'll be doing that in July, and taking my son with me, and he's going to do the Spartan Kids. So being able to prepare for that is really not anything that I was ever in shape for or prepared to do or thought I could do, because of my back pain and just being out of shape, not having energy, and all of that has changed. And we're Plexus for life because of that, and many other things, which Tara will share as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
it was to the point where, he couldn't even do a push-up without getting a headache because of all the pressure on his neck.
Yeah.
So that's really, so
Yeah,
definitely come a long way.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love the part where you was talking about how you was able to get off all that pain medication, because that has
That's
to be bad. And how long did you say you was on that pain medication? Did you say 8 years? Is that what it was?
8 years.
8 years. Wow.
Years. Yep. Long time, where it was just, that was the normal for me, and my body expected that. And coming off of it was it was life-changing, but it would put a lot of things into perspective, because you started to see your life in a totally different light, where you just didn't need that to function. And it's an amazing feeling.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing with that. I mean, seriously, that's amazing. Amazing. And now we know that Tara has a really good one too, because this is what, isn't it Lyme's Awareness Month too? Or
Yeah.
We're ready to hear your story, girl. Tell us what's going on with you and how.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm Tara. I am, last month we both just ranked up. He's a gold ambassador now.
Yep.
And actually he double ranked last month. He went from like a super silver to a gold. Well, super silver to gold last month.
Wow.
And so I ranked up to senior gold last month. So that's my title now. And I'm also a bachelor's prepared nurse. So with those credentials, I can tell you straight off the top that I was very super skeptical about supplements, because I was very ingrained in traditional medicine. And, when you go through medical school, when you go through nursing school, you learn about the anatomy, you learn how the body works, you learn what goes wrong, what it's called, and what medicine to prescribe. You never really talk about food. You don't really touch much on supplements and what that means, and how it can better your life. And so having that way of thinking, it really took Lyme, which is number one in Pennsylvania is number one countrywide for Lyme. I know it's everywhere. So I was the lucky one that contracted it here. And, but, as I watched the path, it's weird to say, but it was almost, I'm okay now that I went through what I did because of where I am now. I know so much more. My whole thought process has changed, and it's not only benefited us and our family, but it's now benefiting so many other people too. So But when I had gotten that, it was neuro Lyme. So I was tingly from my toes to my nose. I was having major panic attacks. I couldn't breathe right. I just felt awful. I was very weak. It got to the point, they put me, once I was finally diagnosed, which it was relatively quickly, I do have to give them credit whenever it comes to that. Because a lot of people are not, and they suffer for a very long time before they're actually finally truly diagnosed and being able to be treated properly. And they put me on the oral medicine, just like everybody gets put on, whenever you go
Right.
through traditional medicine, they have their own algorithm that they follow. But it did nothing for me. I got worse. Within a week, he was carrying me from our bedroom to the car just for me to go to the doctor's appointment, because
Wow.
I couldn't walk like 15 feet without getting that whole tingly sensation and just feeling like I was going to collapse. And it was to the point where I couldn't even hold my head up. I couldn't hold a conversation. I was on the phone with my mom, and all of a sudden I would just stop talking because I just could not hold the phone up, and I couldn't even talk anymore.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was really like the bad version of Lyme. And the first time I went, had 3 ambulance rides. I had 4 ER visits. I was diagnosed with a virus first, and then they told me I had fatigue, and then it was chronic fatigue. And the one doctor told me that if I slept for 2 days, that I would be fine. I just needed rest. Yeah.
Right.
I heard it all. And
Wow.
that was even after my tests came back positive. It was like they could not believe that Lyme could do this to the person. Even though you hear all these crazy horror stories out there about Lyme disease and what it can do to people. And but anyway, I mean, I stayed in the hospital for a week, and they put me on IV medicine, and that was the turning point. So antibiotics is definitely, when it comes to Lyme and the type of bacteria it's really important to make sure that the bacteria is eradicated, because otherwise you're just spinning your wheels and you really feel like you're getting nowhere.
Right.
But so they put me on the IV medicine, and when I went to be discharged, they wanted to put me back on the oral medicine that I was on before that did nothing.
Right.
So I begged and pleaded for them to just discharge me on the IV medication. But because of that, and it was outside of like the CDC, FDA approved rules and regulations to go home on IV medication, we ended up having to pay out of pocket like almost $8,000 just for
Wow.
my IV medication, because I was on it for about 3 months. And then on top of that, all the ambulance rides. I don't know what it costs around there, but around here it's like $900 a trip.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
And then,
sure.
yeah, and then on top of all the co-pays, the hospital stay, everything. I mean, it was like we were getting really close to the poorhouse. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And then once I was out of the hospital, they only wanted to treat me for 4 weeks, and I still wasn't better. So I went to a Lyme specialist, and he carried on the IV antibiotics, and that's how I got them for 3 months. And then after that, I was on orals for a little bit, and then we did all the Lyme testing all over again, like on a Lyme specialist standard. And that's like specialized labs, all that kind of stuff. And everything came back negative. So yay, I was super happy, tears of joy, but still felt absolutely disconnected from life. I had no motivation, no energy,
Right.
constantly fatigued. It took everything out of me just to make it through the workday. He was going around the house doing everything for the kids, cooking, picking things up, all that kind of stuff. Because when I came home, I found a spot on the couch. I didn't move.
Right.
And then of course in the whole thing, your anxiety is bad. Then depression starts to set in, because
Right.
you're like, this is not me. I don't know what to do. I've seen all these specialists. Nobody knows what to do for me. And it really kind of left it up to me to try to figure it out. And being a nurse the whole way through this, I'm reading about it. I'm trying to learn about it, and what's going to solve this problem. And I was buying supplements off of Amazon. I was buying them off of specialized doctor sites. I was trying everything. I don't know if anybody's heard of a Rife machine. I did that. I did intestinal insufflation. I did Myers cocktails. I mean, you name it. I have tried almost all of it. And but nothing really got me to that point. And so out of sheer frustration and reading constantly, and trial and erroring things and just checking off the boxes, I came to, fortunately, God blessed me with a path that took me straight to a naturopathic doctor right when I needed it. And he sat there, and at that first visit, he had his little diagram out, and we were talking about this diagram, and he looked right at me and he said, Tara, I could sit here and talk to you for 2 straight days about nothing but gut health and how it affects everything.
Wow.
And so we had a really long, drawn out conversation about that. And so the very first thing he did is he put me on an autoimmune paleo diet, which is also called an elimination diet. And what it does is it removes every trigger food that could cause any kind of inflammation or sensitivity to a particular food. And I stayed on that for like 8 weeks. But even before the 8 weeks was up, like 2 weeks in, I started seeing a little bit of a change. And here you're talking to a nurse who was very ingrained in traditional medicine. And I was like, okay, because this is my last ditch effort, I'm going to do everything you say. But when I was sitting there talking to him too, I mean, the things that he was telling me, I remembered reading about detox. I remember people saying that you needed to watch what you eat and change your diet. I remember people talking about, doing calming things like breathing and meditation and stuff like that, because my sleep was awful. I was always tired, but wired at the same time. And that was really bizarre. And I could not sleep at night, couldn't fall asleep, couldn't stay asleep. I was on medication for just about everything. And then so whenever I was there talking to him, all these lights started to go off, the dots started to connect, and I'm like, you know what? He was literally the first person that started making sense about this entire situation at all. I mean, literally, he was definitely a blessing right when I needed it. And so I went on that diet per se, and I say per se because I call it more a food plan, because when I think diet, I'm thinking like losing weight, and that's not what this was. So I did that, and in the first 2 weeks, I actually did start seeing an energy shift, and I was like, there really is something to this gut health stuff. And again, it was just something like hyperpermeability of the intestines, aka leaky gut. It's just something you don't hear. And then after all of this and talking to him and trying the diet and finding out that, I think there really is something to this from my own personal experience, all of a sudden I started having flashbacks about these Plexus posts that I started seeing and them talking about gut health and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, gut health is it. We're going to try it. And so I had him try it for the first 24 hours. And I was like,
here, you take this.
Yeah.
See what it does to you. Yeah.
So I figured if he could make it through the first 24 hours, it was okay.
There you go. Yeah.
So he did it. And then the next day I'm like, you know what, forget this. I'm jumping on because, I had my experience with the diet. I knew that there was really something to it. And maybe this was the key. And so back then, we have been doing this for just about a month, like he said, and end of March was when we started. And so back then, they just had the smaller packs. Now we have these real nice big ones.
Yes.
But we just started with the triplex. That was it. About 6 weeks in, I added in the X Factor Plus. About 6 weeks after that, I added in Vital Biome. And those are my staple 5 products. I use those day in, day out without fail. And but adding in Plexus just magnified those good results that I was starting to get with that food plan. And so, I mean, we for the most part closely follow like a paleo diet now. I mean, we definitely go out to eat and we don't follow that 100%, but that's kind of what we follow now. But in addition to the Plexus, it has just changed everything. And I was telling people last night, I did a live on our team page, and I was telling people that I thought that I was better at 3 months, and then 6 months rolled around and I thought I was better then. And then 9 months rolled around and I thought I was better then. And now that it's a year later, I'm telling people, I'm like, I'm not even kidding when I tell you, I feel better now than I did even before I got sick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it has definitely come full circle, and it's definitely, I had gut health issues before Lyme. I would get sinus infections twice a year without fail. I haven't had a sinus infection since I started Plexus. And life has been great. Like he said, we're exercising. Our whole family has benefited from this. The ranking up and being able to share the products with others and giving other people hope is so gratifying. And then all the recognition and the prizes and the things that you can achieve and the friendships that you build with Plexus, it's just touched our lives in so many different ways.
Yeah. So true, girl. You hit spot on. You know, that's one thing, like I say, I've been doing this for 6 years now. And one thing, when I had my 6 year anniversary, I let people know that I've had that little pink drink every day for 6 years. I have not missed
Every
one
day.
single day.
Yep.
Yeah, in 6 years, I'm telling you guys, I have not missed one single pink drink, or my ProBio 5, or my BioCleanse. And now, like you said, the VitaBiome, the X Factor, you know, so all of these products have totally changed my life and so many friends and family's life. So why not, you know, get the word out there, share it. So now, how long did it take you guys to start sharing after you got on the products? I mean, with your friends and family, and did you start immediately? I mean, we try to tell people, hey, start immediately. As soon as you get that package, let people know, be proud, let people know, you know. So, I mean, you know, everybody's journeys are a little bit different. You know, some people are, you know, are like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's been, like I said, we started towards the end of March, but I started sharing like mid-May. So it's been about a year now that I've been sharing.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I did wait, but I'm kind of the same way now, where in the beginning I was just focused on people's health. But then the more I got involved in this and realized that people need the business just as much as they need the products, then I'm telling people right off the bat, like what they can get, you know, how relatively easy it is to get 3 people under you to get those big bonuses and all that kind of stuff that they offer now. It's just incredible.
Yeah. That's very true. I mean, seriously, with doing this for 6 years, the last few incentives that we've had have been the best that I've ever seen Plexus have.
That's
Yeah,
what we
it's
hear.
been incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And I'm sure they've got more things up their sleeve. You know, they do all the time. And, you know, like this being your first convention, I know you guys were saying earlier before we got on the Zoom that this is going to be your first convention. I'm telling you guys, it's going to change your lives. You're going to you're going to see the big picture. You're going to see all these thousands and thousands of Plexus people get together. You know, it's just going to totally change your perspective on everything. But anyway, so I mean, hopefully I'll run into you guys. I mean, you know, you never know. It's kind of hard. But then, well, maybe at Winter's Dinner, you know, I'll see you. Definitely hope to see you at Winter's Dinner. So anyway, but do you guys have any words of advice you would like to share with our team real quick? You know, just anything you'd like to share?
I would say you hear it all the time, but just consistency, right? Consistency is key. And just when you think that something may not be working for you, it's working. And just, you know, look for those small wins. Don't look for these big, enormous changes, because they build up, and it takes you a long time. Like I said, I was probably taking ease for like 7 months straight to get to the point where I felt comfortable enough to get off of my prescriptions. And if I would have given up after the second or third month because nothing had really changed, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Exactly.
And just trusting that process, and surrounding yourself with people that are going to support you within that process.
Yeah, and I think the same thing too. Consistency when it comes to the products, consistency whenever it comes to the business, whether you're a Facebook poster or whether you're out there verbally talking to people, whether it's through, you know, one-on-one conversation or instant message, text. You know, we have so many different modalities now to be able to reach out to people. But I have found that, I mean, there were some dry times, you know, where not a whole lot of people were interested. And then all of a sudden you have like 10 sign-ons in a month, you know? So, I mean, as people realize that you're serious about the business and as serious about the products, then they begin to trust you and they begin to trust the products and they're ready to go. And, but there was a girl that my very first Slim Challenge, I had like 12 different people try. And this girl, I knew she needed it. She knew she needed it. And we had conversations for a year, 1 year.
Right.
My very first share in May, and she just signed up at the very end of April.
Right.
So it was all that time of, you know, her seeing the posts, me talking to her about promotions, you know, about the products.
Yeah.
It took that long. And she told me I think she's been on it for like maybe 2 weeks now. And she told me that she feels so good that she feels over 10 years younger.
Yeah. Well, good. And seeing that's one thing that, like, for instance, with me, I mean, I've had people say, hey, I've been following you for 3 years. I'm ready to do this. And, you know, and now they're like, you know, they're is just so excited. They're starting to build a team. The products have changed their lives, their parents' lives. I mean, the lady that followed me for 3 years, her dad is a type 2 diabetic. He's now off of his metformin,
That's awesome.
So, I tell people, don't give up. Keep sharing, share. It may, your business may not come to you now, but people are going to see that you're passionate and you're not going to give up. Then they're going to eventually come to you and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. They're going to see one of them specials and say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. And actually, I have noticed lately over the past couple of months that, I'm still reaching out to people, but I actually have people coming to me now,
right?
Which is nice. So, yeah. So we're doing good.
Sorry, I had to step away. I had a call.
You're okay.
But I just wanted to say that to go along with that when you think people aren't watching, they're watching.
Yes.
Like they're watching your posts. They're following you just because they're not replying or not liking your posts. They're watching you. And just for instance, now I'm working on somebody who I think is a possibility down the road. But he had said something to me that kind of took me back because I put out there a challenge, just a free giveaway as a sample. And he got it, and he told me he was going to report back and all this. And I was kind of giving him some information on the products and the business and signing up and all that. And he said he wasn't ready yet. But then he also said that what did he say? He said something along the lines of, I've been watching your transformation, and you're an inspiration. And he's never posted or commented or anything the entire time through, yet he sees everything I post, and he still is following along. So when you think people aren't watching you, they're watching you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And they're just waiting for their time.
Yep. Yeah. Here's another story real quick. I'll share with you real quick. We had a lady that we gave a 7-day trial pack away, and this lady won it and everything. And so I followed up with her after she got it. And I said, hey, have you started your 7-day trial pack yet? No, it's sitting over on the counter. So I was like, oh, hey, you need to get started. And so about 3 weeks later, I messaged her again. Hey, have you tried that trial pack yet? No, it's still sitting on my counter. I'm like, what? It took her 3 months to finally try it. And now she's a go-getter ambassador, signing up people. And she's absolutely fallen in love with Plexus. But seriously, she held on to that trial pack for 3 months before. And I tell that story a lot because, seriously, it took her 3 months to try it. But, you got to just keep following up too. Follow-ups are very important with people,
I always tell people good things come to those who wait.
That's right. Exactly. Let me see if anybody's got any questions. Let's see over here. Christy Nodine, her triplex sat on her counter for a month. Now she's a lifer. And she is, because Christy Nodine, I remember when she started out as a customer, and she was giving her sister-in-law all the people. She was like, here, and then we're sitting there watching her do this, and we're like, girl, you'd make a great ambassador. Now she's an ambassador. She just turned gold. And, she's going to convention for her first time and everything too. So she's actually going to be my date on Winner's Dinner, because it's what I do on my Winner's Dinner is I just tell the people on my team, if you're going to convention, whoever has the highest convention credits at the end of the contest, if you didn't win Winner's Dinner, you'll be my date. So Christy Nodine will be my date. So anyway, but hey, you guys, we appreciate you taking the time to be on here with us, and if there's anything that, you need from us, let us know. And you guys are amazing. You have amazing testimonials. So keep going, and can't wait to meet you.
Yeah. Be happy to meet you there too. We're excited to go.
Yeah. Now hold on one second. I've got to do one quick thing here. I've got to do let me stop the recording real quick.